Okay, now we're going to get all the wax off this before we steam it. So I've got it on the ironing board and I have several layers of newspaper underneath it. Now we put newspaper on top of it. My way of thinking, this is what an iron is made for. Certainly not for ironing clothes. Actually, the only use I think my ironing board gets is for ironing silks and getting wax out. So you just iron it until you'll start to see wax come through the newsprint. And as it gets saturated, you just change the newsprint. And out of a 1 to 7, 7 being highest on my iron, I have it on 6. And you just keep doing it until your newsprint comes out clean.
We are ready to start steaming, and I'm using a tamale steamer. You can use a canning pot or something like this. What I like about this is it has a rack with holes in it about 3 to 4 inches above the bottom of the pot. It's perfect for steaming. To begin preparing for steaming, I lay out about 3 sheets of newsprint on top of brown wrapping paper, and on top of that I've put an old sheet. On top of that I'm placing the silks to be steamed, making sure that the dye part of them, of each silk, doesn't touch each other. And you want to maintain about 2 inches at least from the edges of the paper. Then on top of that, I put another sheet. Especially when you have Gouda on silk, the sheet helps keep the Gouda from sticking to the paper. Then I roll the whole thing up. Then I roll it up again so that it looks kind of like a snail with the open ends facing inward, and I wrap it in twine or rope, or you could tape it. Now I start cutting the paper that's going to go inside the steaming pan to act as a splash guard. So this is the rack. I'm going to cut a layer of about 6 layers of newsprint, a little bit smaller than this rack. Also in between these I've placed 1 sheet of aluminum paper. This is just added protection from water splashing up and hitting your silk package. And these can be used over and over if you let them dry out after each steaming. Then this goes on top of the rack. You can see it's a little bit smaller than the rack. Then I'm going to do the same thing for the lid. I'm going to cut a circle just a little bit smaller than the lid because this is also going to go under the lid. And then I put the lid on top of a towel. Now the newsprint's inside the lid. And I'm going to wrap the lid up with a towel and secure it loosely by clips. And the purpose of this is just to prevent condensation from dripping down on your package. It's not very elegant looking, but it works. Alright, so now I put the water in the pot first. I lay down the paper on top of the rack. You put your silk package on top of that, making sure that it doesn't touch the sides. As you can see, it had a lot of room. And then I put the lid with the newsprint on top, and I usually steam for a couple hours. 15 minutes on high usually gets me boiling, and then I turn the stove down to a simmer, and I listen to make sure that it still has water in it. And it's pretty simple. And that's about it.